I have a regression it's not inside out. Anyway, she's a regression. He is too. When I was seeing him several years ago, he was also a teacher or something. Well, it's a bit of a trance, and then you try to contact whatever your complex is, stuff like that. So I just thought it was such a coincidence that it's a book. And I've tried to get through Course in Miracles a bunch of times and I can't.
And I got a cherry picker for all the center stuff. And then along the edges, they just had a huge ladder. Like I just climbed up there and went straight with pain and my
to hear languages. And my therapist said he tried to find a book for you can have that. Not this one. So I'm definitely going to do this. It's a beautiful I was hanging out with Mary before she was married because I lived in Seattle. She was being oh no, she was pretty big church. No, it's church. It was bigger than and sure. Deepak came through. She could believe it. She brought in which the California Institute of Educational Studies, which is in San she used to come about every 6 weeks to give a little seminar. They had philosophy, consciousness. Anyway, she used to come and give lectures there. California Institute of Educational Studies. And it's a PhD. Started on this trip. I met every living visionary. It's based on the principles of integration, this person it's a man, and his name is he was a good dude. Yes. It's actually a particular type of business. I needed to hear that today. It's been a minute. Oh, so I could talk to you for hours.
That's me over here. It's like a ventriloquist act. You move your lips and I'll do the talking. Good morning, Althea. I'm so happy. Look how happy I am. I'm even happier than that. I raise my hands to the heavens.
This doesn't sound, is this on?
Yes.
Sort of, you don't hear me?
No.
Yeah, they can't hear me well.
Sure.
That's as loud as it gets. Okay, well, I'll do what I can. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning for my real voice. I'm Ginny Castleberry, proud 7-year, I'm going on 7-year Althea member, proud board member. And welcome to, I bet this could be first time ever in Althea history to be in this space for Sunday service. So, and it's for such wonderful reasons. If you haven't peeked into the sanctuary, do. By now you know that's why we're in here, because from here on out, it's going to be a memory to look up and see pieces of paint falling off the ceiling. That's gone. So if that was a nostalgic thing for you, I'm sorry. So great things are happening, and that is tied to the 100-year campaign that you all helped us get more than 2/3 of the way to our goal. So thank you for that, and I'll plug that later today and toward the end of the service too. What I want to do first is ask everyone to check that their cell phones are on silent. Right? Please do that. Take a moment. You always think it is, and then it's not. I have mine right here. Let's check. Now it's off. So thank you for doing that. And then the other thing that we always do in this space, we do a couple of acknowledgements. One is what's called the land acknowledgement. To acknowledge that the Cheyenne, the Arapaho, and Ute peoples were on this ground long before us, and this was their sacred ground. And it matters, because their legacy matters. We are more holy because of it, and here at Althea. And to ensure that this isn't just a statement, like you hear at so many places where you just say, thanks folks, and then on you go. We want to make sure that we actually have impact for those communities. So part of what we do at Althea is we have space in our building for 2 nonprofits that support Indigenous people. Spirit of the Sun and Sisters of Color United Education. And they do work through activism, programming, and education that is impactful for these communities. We also care deeply about diversity and naming the fact that this has traditionally been a very white space. And we are trying to make this a space that feels more welcoming and belonging for people of color and all types of diversity. Whether that is LGBTQ+, whether that is around ableism. We want to make sure that we are aware of that and that we are evolving in consciousness to move beyond our differences and our dichotomies to embrace oneness, unity, and community. So please help us to do that. We want your feedback in that area. And now is when we like to welcome folks for whom this is the first time. And if this is the first time in this space, wow, you're great. This is just so different, but it's going to be very intimate and cool. So if you can raise your hand, who is this a first time for? Who is this the first time in this space? All right, folks over there, keep those hands up. What we like to do is give you a flower. This is just a way to for other folks to say hello to you. And know that we do have lunch today, right? We're still doing lunch, yes. So lunch is on us today. If this is your first time, please enjoy lunch with us. If you can't stay, you can have lunch another day with us as your free lunch. And we would love to have you do that. Woo! So welcome to our space. So now what I would like to do is turn it over to the folks who are going to lead us through an opening prayer, through what we call our statement of being, which is important, and then a song that is important to us as well. And so you'll see Rick Pitzman, you'll see Chadwick Dickerson, and you'll see Chadwick also singing for us today. So Rick, come on up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Rick.
Hi, Rick.
So let's do an opening prayer and get this show on the road. If you're comfortable, just close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and just exhale out the stresses of the day already. Getting here, getting up. Where's the dog? Where's the cats? Where's the kids? Where am I? And just know that your life has brought you here to this moment and to this place. And so in recognizing this beautiful sanctuary of ours, founded by 3 women over 100 years ago, we are the recipients of their consciousness. We have been given this gift, and it is such a joy to be able to share this space with each other right here and right now. And also those people on Facebook who are with us in spirit, or who may watch a recording of this in some future day. We are all united, and we are all one. So let us give thanks for this place as we hear what we need to hear, as we bless our speaker, Chris, all of our volunteers, knowing that we take out into the world the joy of being alive, the joy of oneness. We spread that word all over the world. And so together we say, and so it is.
Hello, Chadwick here. So I'm going to open with the statement of being, for able to stand. God is all,
both invisible and visible, one presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God, and are ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
And now we will join together sing You Are the Grace of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a water being. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. We are a family. You are the face of God.
Thank you, Chadwick. That was his debut. And I also wanted to say that for those who haven't seen it in their mail or were here last week, we have a new spiritual director. She could not be here with us today. She already had planned her life and her travels. Straight in, that's even better. Okay, all right. Of course, she would love to be here, and she will be here next Sunday. You're going to get to hear her speak all through the month of August, so she's ready for that. Just want wanted to make sure that was super clear. And so now, what we'd like to do before we bring up Chris Parente to give us an amazing message is have some amazing music with Michael Stanley. So let me give you a little background on Michael, who is a longtime friend of Althea. He is a 5-time winner of Westward's Best of Denver for everything from his recordings to his performances. He's composed scores for dance, theater, and film, as well as 3 critically acclaimed recordings. He has produced multimedia events for the Denver Zoo and the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. He has toured throughout Southeast Asia as a musical goodwill ambassador for the U.S. Information Service. And you will see he plays a variety of instruments, from the didgeridoo to the taikon to the mbira, as well as the guitar. And he's the first place winner in 2012 of the International Auto Harp Championship, which we'll see today. He's considered one of the finest in the country. So please help me welcome Michael Stanley. Our featured speaker is Chris Parente-Rios. I'm not happy. Chris has spent, if he looks familiar to you, not just from here, 30 years as a broadcast news anchor His work in television garnered 7 regional Emmy Awards for excellence. He's worked in TV markets across the Midwest, moving to Colorado in 2006. And if you're up early, you can catch Chris on KWGN Channel 2, where he serves as the primary anchor of the 5-hour daybreak morning show. For nearly as long as his television career, Chris has also been an enthusiastic spiritual seeker. Raised Catholic, Chris discovered the beauty of the Lakota spirituality as a young man, and those principles guide him still. He has studied both Tibetan Buddhism and Won Buddhism, the Kabbalah, shamanism, and most recently completed a year-long workshop in A Course in Miracles. While interviewing hundreds of celebrities, politicians, and folks next door, his career and spirit paths often cross, most noticeably in his interviews with Pope John Paul II, and, I know, that's pretty, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Chris sees God reflected in everything, but most clearly in the love he shares with his husband of 2 years, Luis. Shout out to Luis, who is also our volunteer coordinator. So please help me welcome Chris Parente-Rios.
Thank you, thank you.
Little Italian music for your Sunday morning. Buongiorno, buongiorno. I'll give you one guess what I am. Sure. Oh, okay, that's gonna be that kind of crowd. I thought it was obvious I'm a tourist, right? I'm a tourist. I even got my fanny pack at the ready, which I did, sir, wear every day during my 2-week vacation to Italy. Do you think they knew I was in America? Probably so. And I was really hoping that maybe my 2 weeks in Italy, Luis and I just got back 6 days ago. Maybe my trip to Italy would have some parallels to the trip we're about to take with Althea, right? I got to thinking about it. Like, we planned our vacation, we researched where we want to go, how we want to get there, who we want to go with. We've all done that here at Althea, right? And we've spent money, and we've spent time, we've voted, we've talked about it. Now the only thing left to do is to take the trip. So my question to all of us, myself included, is how are we going to go? And what are we going to take with us? And I asked the universe to help me out. Help me make a connection between the trip that we're all about to take and my trip to Italy. And I swear to you, ding! As soon as I asked, I got an email. In my work emails from NBC News. From NBC News. It was an article that they sent entitled, "All Aboard, 4 Tips from the Other Side." Now I'm thinking other side spirit, right? They meant the other side of the pond. 4 tips from Europeans. And the subtitle is, I love this, Europeans say they can spot an American from a mile away. They shared with us what they wish Americans knew before taking on a new adventure. There it is. Thank you, universe. The 4 tips that the other side would like us to know before we take on a new adventure. Tip number 1, this is from NBC News, go with the flow. Direct quote. While it makes sense Americans use guides to plan their adventure, Americans miss out on some of the best experiences because we're so wrapped up in our plan. Because we're so wrapped up in our plan. Surrender. Isn't that cool? NBC News. And their first tip to all of us is to surrender. I learned one word in Italian. Ghiaccio. Ghiaccio. You know what that is? No, it's not surrender. I wish it were. Ghiaccio is ice cube. Ice cube. Luis is laughing because he knows full well it was 105 degrees in Italy. They were having a heat wave. And I love my ice cubes. I'm an American. I have to have a big, tall glass full of ice everywhere I go. Italians don't really operate that way. They don't use ice. I was unwilling to surrender. And Luis will tell you, everywhere we went, my first word, ghiaccio per favore, ghiaccio, ghiaccio. It became my whole trip. In fact, no joke, my Italian cousins, when I was coming over, they would bring out a big serving bowl of ice cubes and plop it on the table. Why? Because I couldn't surrender. And I get emotional about it. I lost out. I experienced a little less of Italy because I couldn't surrender what I believed was my way. Same thing goes for air conditioning. The Italians aren't real big on air conditioning. I am. Yeah. So my vacation became a quest to find AC. And we were driving behind my cousins, and they were in a car in front, we were in back. I noticed they had their windows down. Their arms out the window, and I asked them, don't you guys have AC? Yeah. We don't need it, we got the windows. I couldn't surrender. I've always had a hard time with surrender, and as we move forward with Althea, I invite all of us to ask, are we willing to surrender our obsession with ghiaccio, or whatever it is? We want it to be painted that color. We want service to start with the song. No, we want it, whatever it is, can we afford our spiritual director the grace of surrendering to her? At least for a while. I'm an American. I might go back to my old habits. But for at least a while, can we surrender? I'd have had a better time in Italy if I had. Honestly, if I had just surrendered. I want to quote Eckhart Tolle. We all know him, right? I love this quote. He says, always say yes to the present moment. What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always is now? Surrender to what is. I think we'll go a long way, whether we're traveling to Italy or traveling a few steps over to our new sanctuary, if we're all willing to surrender, to let go, and as we say in recovery, let God. The second tip from NBC News on how to better make an adventure is go beyond. The article says, go beyond what you think you know. Drop your expectations. Europeans have found that Americans gravitate toward what they know when dining out or drinking out. Okay? I'm a big guy with expectation. I developed an unnatural fear of Italian gas stations. Italian gas stations do not look like American gas stations. What I expect a gas station to look like. I pull up, I want 15 pumps, I want to go inside and get a big ice cold Diet Coke. Italian gas stations don't look like that. Sometimes they look like restaurants, don't they, Luis? Or cafes. They didn't meet my expectation. And so what did I do? I didn't go in the gas stations. I assigned Luis and my brother-in-law gas control. And anytime we filled up, it was on them, wasn't it? I stayed in the car. Because my expectation of what I thought Italy ought to be didn't match. I couldn't drop my expectation. And on a more personal note, and I'm very embarrassed by this, I expected that Italians would understand me. If I speak slower and louder, they'll understand me. I never learned the language. I never even bothered to learn the language before I went to meet my own family. Luis, on the other hand, spent months learning the language. And I would say his experience was deeper and richer than mine. Because he dropped his expectation of what it ought to be, and instead allowed it to come to him as it was, on their terms. The third tip from NBC News on taking an adventure, and I love this one. Go quietly. This is advice from Europeans to us. Go quietly. Direct quote. We Europeans can identify Americans straight away because they're loud. Because they're loud. One of my favorite quotes is, "Be still and know that I am God." As we move forward in our adventure with Althea, are we able to maybe talk a little less and listen a little bit more? Be willing in our silence to learn. And I'll just say the most powerful moments for me in Italy were in those moments when I just shut up and listened to what was happening around me. Just listen. And I know that's hard for Americans. My dad used to say, 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? Can we give our new director the grace of being willing to just simply listen and observe and be quiet and be still? And I think if we do that for her and for Althea, we'll go a long way toward filling that sanctuary that's right now covered in plastic and being created. The final tip from NBC News, tips from the other side. And I love this because it cuts Americans some slack. Go with joy. Go with joy. And here's what the Europeans say about us. One thing hospitality staff and locals all agree about, amen, Americans are kind. Direct quote. Americans are always willing to have a conversation. They always want to chat. Most Americans are so sweet, they even offer to put you up in America if you ever come over to the States. Isn't that cool? And I know I felt that here at Althea. Go with joy. As we start next Sunday, our first Sunday with our new director, can we offer her and can we offer Althea joy? I think we can. And I think it'll make for a better trip. Go with the flow. Go without expectation. Go quietly. And go with joy. Turns out that wasn't really an article from NBC News. Those are spiritual practices. Whether I'm headed to Italy, whether I'm headed right across to the sanctuary. And I am here to commit to you that I will do those 4 things for as long as I can here at Althea, to support our director, to support the community. Go with the flow. Go without expectation. Go quietly and in peace. Go with joy. We drove a lot in Italy. And in Puglia, which is the heel of the boot, way down southern Italy, we must have visited 7 or 8 coastal towns. They're all gorgeous. They're all stunning. And they all have one thing in common. They all are fortified. These little Italian port towns they're like citadels. They have built up barriers and walls. There's cannons. They were built to keep people out. And it really got me thinking while I was there, it served a purpose at the time. There were a lot of invaders 3,000 years ago. They built walls. Maybe now we don't have to do that anymore. Maybe now we can surrender And as I was driving back to the airport, I swear I was thinking of y'all in Italy. That's how much you mean. As we were driving back to the airport through the Italian countryside, I was thinking about the walls and the barriers and the history and the culture, and I asked Spirit, give me something. Give me something to bring back to Althea. This is not a joke or an exaggeration. At that moment, my sister said, hey, let's put some music on. And this is the first song that came up in our car in Italy. I think you're going to recognize it in a few bars. And I want the song to permeate into you. A very easy, simple song. Only a few lines to it. Somebody's knocking on the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Somebody's knocking on the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor. Let him in. Let him in. We'll have a chance to sing this together in a few minutes. But in our last few seconds together right now, I want to encourage each of you, and me too, to be willing to tear down the barriers, the defenses that may have served a purpose, to surrender, release expectation, be in sacred silence, be in joy, open door and let him in. Let him in. Whether it's Italy, whether it's our spiritual director, can we truly and fully let it in? Italy changed me to the extent that I was willing to be changed. And Althea will change us to the extent we are willing to be changed. I guarantee you somebody's knocking on that door today. And it's up to each of us whether or not we choose to let in.
Check, check.
Kiss the mic. You might have noticed in your program that it says that Luis is going to be the leader, but not Luis. I have a poem today by John Donahue for a new beginning, and after I read it, there'll be a few ones for you that silence does not be for a new beginning. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander. This beginning has been quietly formed, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you. Noticing how you will yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that saints whispered. Heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent. Wondered, would you always live like this? Then, the delight when your courage kindled, and out you stepped onto new ground. Your eyes young again with energy and dream. A path of plenitude you hopefully find. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold back nothing. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you.
Now I would like to have the ushers come forward. This is the time when we ask you to support us in a very grounded, real, financial sense. So we pass the basket. You have cash or check or jewelry. Throw it in that basket. We also have a dip jar. Oh yes, we have the dip jar right there. Chris Parente showed us how to use it. Touchless system. Put your credit card in. It takes $10 every time. If you do that multiple times, we think it might do some kind of a Las Vegas payout. I can't promise that, but it could happen. You can also go online on your program. There's also a QR code right there. So even if you don't have cash, you can support us today. Because what keeps the lights on, what keeps amazing speakers, guest speakers here, what brings new spiritual directors, also takes some financial support. So thank you for that. That was fast. You sure? Everybody else, come on up. Feel like you've done your duty? Come on up. And then what we like to do is, as a group, affirm all of these wonderful gifts that you just gave us. So please join us as we say, the universe provides all that I need and all that I give. With great joy, I share my prosperity, planting seeds for a world I hope you manifest. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, thank you. And we like to do at this time what we call prayers of the people. We are big believers at Althea in something called affirmative prayer. And what that means is we believe that if you have a group of people who are concentrating their spiritual energy on help that you may need or someone you know may need for spiritual healing, that it can move the dial. And so this is an opportunity to, as a group, let us know if there is someone in your life or you in your life who need healing. And if you asked for this in the past and you want to give us some updates, this is a wonderful time to share with us what's happening with those folks that we've prayed for before. And also know that there are forms online. You can go to our website if you want to do something private around this space of prayer. And immediately after service, you can meet one-on-one with a prayer partner, and I'll let you know who that is at the end, to have a one-on-one session for them. So, we will pass the mic around. Does anyone have someone they would like to pray for?
Yes, I asked for prayers before for my grandson Smiles. He's a beautiful little man. And he now is my path looking for me. He was in Palm Springs, California. So we're searching for a family for him. His mother doesn't, the nurse, doesn't seem worried about getting the children. Worried. I can't do it. You can't do it. So we have lots of family to turn to. So just like prayers for Styles, he seems to be coming through this right now and through the way. Very humble.
You need to shout. You need really to shout. Right?
Shout.
Right, yes.
Hey, I'm Karen. I just wanted to tell you, give you an update on something that I asked about and requested a couple of different times. And it's about Matthew Hazelwood. He's with us today. Oh, he finally got housing.
Yay!
Yay! Right? But he needs a lot of help financially, cash-wise. He doesn't have credit cards and all that kind of stuff. So he needs the actual cash to help him get things into his apartment and help with that so that he feels like he's a little bit grounded now and can move forward a little bit more easy grace here. So I just wanted to thank you for your prayers and everything. We're on the beginning of another journey for him. And so thank you all. Appreciate it. Much better.
I'm asking for prayers for my dad. His name is Philip. He is 90 years old and enjoys going to church services a couple times a week. And things are just starting to get a little bit harder for him. And so I'm just asking for some grace to assist him where he is right now.
What is his name?
Philip.
Thanks for that. In addition to that, I heard from my lawyer for disability this past week, and I am going to be seeing a judge sometime soon. She doesn't have a date and time yet, but she says she has everything else together. And those things have been getting really hard, and so I want to also pray for Laura, who's not only helping me through all of this day in and day out, but who's also dealing with her own physical difficulties while we're doing that.
Okay, last call. Last call. Oh, we do have one.
Yeah. I'd like everyone to wish my wife Sue happy 25th birthday.
think we have some birthday cake.
Yes.
Yeah. Looks like we have some birthday cake, so we'll see. I think, it sure looks like it. We'll make one. Somebody got a candle? Anybody? We'll figure it out. So now as we head toward the close of our service, it's time for announcements. But one thing I wanted to tack on to that Chris brought up, I have a long background in Toastmasters. Go Toastmasters, if anyone knows about that group. It's a speaking group. One of the things you do as a Toastmaster is you evaluate other speakers, because the only way to become a better speaker is to be evaluated, right? Told what you do well, what you don't do as well. And one of the things they teach you is, especially when you're with a speaker who's new and maybe a little bit fragile, what you do is, even if you have 20 things to tell them that they need to work on, don't tell them 20 things they need to work on. Okay? I'm thinking of our new spiritual director. You may have 20 things that you want her to do differently based on something else. Please don't go up to her after service and hit her with the 20 things. And I say this because I've seen it happen. And it does happen in communities that have a minister all the time. It's a really rough first 6 months for a new minister. Often doesn't work out because they are hit with everything that somebody thinks is wrong about them, about the place, about the past. Let me fill you in on the gossip. Let me tell you what happened here. And it's really rough. So number one, don't do that. Number two, it's okay to give her feedback. She's expecting it. But what they taught us is, you say, I'm going to tell you 2 things you did amazingly well. This and this. And, maybe think about X as a different way of doing it. And by the way, you did such and so awesome. It's called the sandwich of evaluating someone. So please keep that in your heart. And even feel free to leave out the 2 things she can work on in her first 6 months, right? So thank you, Chris, for bringing that up. And I just wanted to bookend it with that. So announcements. As I mentioned, we are $70,000 toward our $100,000 goal. So as students at the end of the year know that we still need your financial support. This is for our 100-year building fund, so that we can finish things besides fixing the paved. We have so much more, and new park that we have in there. We need your financial support, so dig deep if you can do it, right? So thank you so much for that. We are still recruiting for more board members. You can let one of them, who's here as a board member? Raise your hand if you're a current board member. Talk to one of those folks with their hands up. We are always looking for the right people to be on the board, and you get to do things like help figure out what leadership looks like. You get to be a big part of that. So it's a way to give back that we love. And also know that, Luis, I pointed out, where is he still? There he is, back there. Giving your time is huge to a community like this. So if you can't give as much financially, you can always give your time. And he's the guy to talk to about that. We always have, via Zoom, most Thursdays, I shouldn't say always, most Thursdays, we still have a Zoom offering. And that is Althea's Community Connections. It's from 11 to 12:30. It's going to resume this coming Thursday. Went on a little bit of a hiatus. Kathy Humphries back there, wave your hand. She is the person that pulls that together. It's a cool online discussion group that's been going on for years now. It takes on a different topic each Thursday. So she can tell you more about that. We also normally have what's called a deep dive at around 12:30. We're not going to do the deep dive. That's when we take a deep dive into today's message. Because of logistics today, we're just going to pass on that one. But it'll be back again next Sunday. So join us for that deep dive. And let's see, as I said, Prayer Partners takes place immediately after this in the historic library on the other side of that wall. We will have lunch, so join us for that. Is there anything else that is a no? Oh, yes, Rick.
Jimmy, I think we should give a big round of applause to the board for the incredible job they did.
Thank you very much. We've been there through some, I don't know, pandemics, losing a beloved spiritual director, getting a new one, new board members, old board members. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a ride, but it's been good. Oh, and there is a gong back in August. We had it last Sunday. We'll have another one. You've never been bathed by a gong. Get online and get signed up for that. I just want to make sure that is. Any other last announcements before I turn it over to the community song and the community cheer? All right, Daryl, come on up.
So today's is for the Parente-Rios. So please stand as you're able and join me. Let me in.
Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door and let me in. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door and let me in. Yeah, let me in. Sister Sister Susie, Brother John, Martin Luther, Theodore Don, Brother Michael, Auntie Jim, open the door and let Sister Susie, Brother John, Martin Luther, Theodore Don, Uncle Ernie, Auntie Jim, open the door and let Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door and let me in. Yeah, let me in. Sister Susie, Brother John, Martin Luther, Theodore Don, Uncle Ernie, Uncle Ben, open the door and let her in. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door and let me
Yeah. Would you hear us in the back?
We were doing instrumental.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Someone's knocking at my door. Someone's ringing my bell. Come on in. Come on. I know it. I feel it. I feel it. I am it.
I'm not Oh no, shut the door on you.